Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what are the hidden thoughts and secret feelings of the person on your mind towards you? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Rose Quartz Angel. Group 2 is the Angelite Angel. And group 3 is the Amethyst Angel. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. We chose the Rose Quartz Angel. So let's see, what are the hidden thoughts and secret feelings of the person on your mind towards you at this time? Okay, so the first one that we have is twin flames. So this person may definitely view you as a soulmate, as a counterpart, the yin to their yang, the perfect fit for them. It feels like something that if they were uncertain about outside factors or influences that might have presented as obstacles in this situation before, that had caused kind of a hot and cold energy between the two of you, or where they were kind of hesitant to make their intentions fully known, it feels that they've been doing some soul searching and have come to the conclusion that you are worth fighting for. This connection is worth fighting for. The bond that the two of you share with one another is too rare to allow to simply pass by. If you are in a no contact situation with this person, it feels like they have been utilizing this time apart to again do some soul searching and maybe contemplating reaching out to you, making amends or making some kind of confession about deeper feelings that they had held back, expressing some of those motivating factors that had caused them to maybe dip in and out of your life previously. It feels that they've had some kind of epiphany or wake-up call where maybe they've been shown some things in dreams or via downloads or, even just in that kind of element of sort of soul searching, that if I don't take action soon, if I don't do something to lock this situation in or solidify the bond or put myself back in as like a contender for this person's emotions and their heart, then I'm going to miss out on a circumstance. And they're viewing you as almost somebody very irreplaceable. They've never met anybody like you. And so there's a sense of like, I see now the error of my ways, allowing you to slip through my fingers, and I want to do what it takes in order to be able to reintroduce myself to you, claim a place in your life once more. We also have mediumship. So this person feels that you intuitively know them, a deep empathic bond that they are sensing between the two of you, where you're able to really anticipate their moods. And it feels like you've also really honored their need for space in some sort of way that it feels like is very uncharacteristic for what they're used to in terms of romantic partnerships or even other people in their life. There's a sense that you are very self-assured, you have high self-esteem, but you've not put pressure on this person to be anything other than who they are at any given moment. This isn't like people pleaser behavior, but this is the sense of allowing. You know yourself as an individual, you allow yourself to be yourself very authentically, and you've extended that same courtesy to them, which it feels like is a rare quality something that they are really valuing. If you are in a no contact situation with one another, they may also be able to sense kind of your questioning, any sort of distress that you've been through, and even maybe some detachment that has happened, where if it's a long period of no contact, you might have sort of created closure for yourself, or you've released yourself from the expectation that anything more would develop in this circumstance, or this person would come back around. You may be setting your sights towards other horizons as far as love and romance that could have really sparked almost a bit of panic within them. Like, I gotta take action soon before a window of opportunity closes. We also have Ascended Masters, so they are definitely sensing that it's no accident that you have come into one another's lives. They're seeing you as like a godsend, or they're recognizing that you have a lot of keys to kind of unlock certain hidden doors inside of themselves that can allow different parts of their personality, or kind of emotional aspects of self, to come more out into the light than has been welcomed or encouraged by other connections, friends, family, or romance that they've had in their life, which again is like a rare quality about you. They feel that there's something very otherworldly or ethereal about you, like you carry these almost like light codes within. Even just being in your presence, having a conversation with you, even when they sit and think about you, or they're doing this soul searching, there's a sense that there's a lot of healing that happens in that process. That energy exchange, even from afar, is doing wonders to create restoration within this person, to kind of remedy anything as far as like low self-esteem, woundedness, even like a fear of commitment that might have been left over from circumstances that fell apart in their past. It's almost like you're showing them how to love once again, by demonstrating almost an unconditional love for yourself first and foremost, and then that's radiating out, and it's able to be picked up on by them. They're also really admiring the way that you have a very positive impact on other people. Other lives that you touch are bettered by just even a little bit of time spent in your presence. And this is something that has not been lost to this individual. So it feels like they're watching from afar, admiring you from afar, looking at you as someone who could really teach them some things about a way to live more authentically, to honor self, to again be that living embodiment of what can almost be a cliche of like love yourself, only you're carrying that out in full force in a very interesting way, in a way that resonates with them, in a way that it feels like has also sparked some inquiries within themselves in terms of what can I do to no longer cut corners within me and like my approach to self, or the way that I'm living my life, boundaries that I have in place or may need to put in place in order to create kind of the proper environment where I can unfurl into a better version of self. I can enjoy the version of me that exists and kind of strive for something realistic and yet at a heightened kind of potential that's actualized than they had known was possible before, than they had kind of encouraged themselves to strive to become before. So it's almost like you're an inspiration to them, actually, or even energetically speaking. They're reaching up from within themselves to kind of claim that vibration that you are operating at, or to take steps in their material world in order to kind of sift out any sort of toxic influences, belief systems, patterns of behavior, in order to kind of liberate themselves and allow more of like the truth or the wholeness of who they are to come forth. And all of that is really something that in direct and kind of unconscious ways you've contributed as kind of like an inspiration or a motivation for them to endeavor this at this point. And we also have power. So you have a magnetic effect upon this person. As much as they may try to distract themselves with work, or they've been overwhelmed perhaps by their feelings for you in the past, they keep being drawn back in. They can only stay away for so long. There's only so many excuses that they can make as far as why it's better to sort of take their time, pump the brakes in the situation, focus on other things. It's almost like you're their favorite distraction. You're like a guilty pleasure for this person, that they're releasing themselves even from that perception of guilt, no longer trying to look at you like a forbidden fruit, but something that they are wanting to actively kind of cultivate space within their life in order to invite you in closer. Or again, if it's like a no contact situation, this can indicate somebody that is like making those plans and preparations within to re-emerge in your life. We also have metamorphosis. So this person feels that you have transformed them for the better. You've opened their mind to new ways of loving, through the ways in which you demonstrate self-love and like you're living your own life, ways in which you have expressed love to them, or you've held space for them to kind of find that for themselves within themselves. There's a sense that even kind of the way that you live your life or things that you've talked about with this person, it's expanded them to a different sort of way of viewing things, different kind of values, different sorts of interests. This can even be something where certain interests or beliefs that they had or questions or curiosities, they hadn't had anyone else in their material world that they necessarily felt comfortable expressing these things with, that they could share these ideas, like bounce these ideas off with, or that would, not ridicule them, would kind of understand them or would honor their opinions or their interests in some sort of way. And yet you've held space for that. You've either kind of shared a lot of those interests, or you've understood where it is that they're coming from. If they've expressed any of these things to you, you've viewed them with respect as opposed to, again, like ridicule, as they may have been used to with other people and other situations. And so there's a sense that they feel more confident in kind of stepping into the fullness of who they are, kind of letting some of the quirkier parts of themselves kind of out into the open, because in your presence they feel very accepted, very comfortable to just be themselves in all facets and aspects. And we also have expectation. So it feels like you have helped this person to kind of turn off a pessimistic view towards life and towards love, and to seize the moment to be more optimistic. You are this person's silver lining. It feels like in a lot of ways that there may be a lot of heaviness that they've carried through disappointments in life and in love prior to encountering you, that even if they've taken a step back from this connection, even if you're at a distance, or it's like a no talking period or a no contact period, it feels like there's hopefulness on this person's part that this situation can survive kind of the current pressure that it's under, or whatever has occurred between the two of you in the past. All hope is not lost. And so this is a motivation for them to kind of dig deep within self and summon more courage, or, bring that better version of themselves out to the forefront in order to be able to kind of present a more intense version of themselves, a more well-rounded version, a more authentic version of themselves than you've known up to this point in time, because there's a sense of like, the wholeness of me is accepted by you or understood by you, or you make the effort to kind of understand me, and this gives me hope for other aspects of my life that I might have sort of held myself back. I dimmed my light in some sort of way. I hadn't been my authentic self, or I'd been very discouraged, very frustrated through like rejection or lack mentality, imposter syndrome, all those different things. You really help to kind of cast those energies aside within this person just by your sheer presence, the magnitude of your presence. And it feels like the way in which you are living your life, any kind of challenges that you've had to overcome, that you've expressed details about to this person, or that's even just sort of translated through your energy, through kind of like a before and after of how you were living before, how you're living now. All of this is encouraging this person to kind of get up and take charge of their own life in some sort of way, to rise to the occasion, to make positive transformation, and to expect positive results, as opposed to kind of just like waiting for the other shoe to drop. There's a sense of them really kind of feeling, as far as the situation with you and more broadly their life in general, almost like, but what if it does work out? What if things, do happen according to plan? What if I do get that happy ending? What if I get that happily ever after? What if this is that fairy tale that I've been wanting, that I've been waiting for, that I'd almost given up hope of existing, that's here now in the form of this connection with you? So let's take a look at their potential actions towards you. Okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles, Death, and the Queen of Cups. So this definitely speaks to the energy of somebody who may be working up the courage to bring forth an apology, make amends, resurrect the connection in some way. But there's an interest here in sort of breaking out of a cycle that you had been in with one another before and catapulting this situation into the next level of experience. So more open-heartedness, heart-to-heart conversations, or a lot more emotional honesty than they had presented in the past. It feels like they're working to kind of clear some blocks within, almost like fears of worst case scenarios that may be residue of like disappointments in love in the past, where there's an attraction towards you, there's a magnetization towards you, but then it's almost like this inherent fear within of like, if I open myself up too deeply to you and to this connection and we start to build something with one another, and it falls apart, then I'm going to be left kind of picking up the pieces, dealing with the wreckage emotionally or in my life in general, as has been the case in previous circumstances in my reality. And they're seeing that it's unfair to kind of compare what the two of you share or what you can share in the future with whatever has fallen apart in their past. So this feels like somebody who's kind of, they're digging themselves out of a hole inside in order to be able to kind of present more truth, more authenticity to you, something that gives you a better kind of perspective of where they're coming from, what their motivations are for actions in the past, or kind of the pace that they have set for this connection at this point in time, and also where they envision more of a long-term future between the two of you. So deeper conversations, honest conversations, things that aren't just surface level, but you're talking about feelings with one another. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know right now. Okay, they say, I want more, but I'm scared. Yeah, so this is somebody who fears rejection. They fear abandonment. This is somebody who it feels like as soon as they start to catch feelings or things become deep kind of love is on the horizon, they run in the opposite direction. This is somebody who yearns for long-term partnership. They want companionship specifically with you, and yet there's a sense of, if I dive in completely, if I open my heart, there's no turning back. They're seeing you as someone who can change their life for the better or for the worst. And so there's a bit of trepidation as far as like pushing themselves beyond their comfort zone to trust that all of these beautiful feelings that they've had for you up to this point in time, that momentum can continue on into the future, that what you share with one another is unlike what they have known with other people in their past. And so it feels like, again, somebody kind of working up the courage in order to transcend those limitations within self and be able to provide you with a deeper level of commitment or kind of more clarity as far as even some of that woundedness and where they're coming from that may have led to self-sabotage in the situation. They also say, I have trouble expressing myself. So it feels like dealing with emotions, even understanding the nature of their own emotions, is not their strong suit. So it feels like something that you've created a very safe space for this person, almost like a sanctuary through the empathic bond that may exist between the two of you, where even if they're not able to articulate what it is that they're feeling, you almost are able to anticipate their moods and you dance according to that with them. You're holding your own, you're honoring yourself and your own emotional needs, but there's a lot of allowance that is given for wherever this individual is at in terms of their process of up-leveling emotionally speaking. And it feels like there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of gratitude, there's a lot of admiration that they have for that as they're trying to like formulate the words, find a way to express themselves to you. And they also say, the flashbacks I have about us are intense. So they may be thinking back on missed opportunities, words that were spoken that they wish that they could take back, or circumstances where it's like that would have been a great time to sort of advance the situation forward, or if you've been in a no contact with one another, like that would have been a really good time to kind of close out the cycle of silence and begin the communication again, that on more than one occasion they may have thought about extending that olive branch or seeking you out, reaching out to you, and they didn't do it in the past. And so it feels like there's a window of opportunity that they're sensing is closing, whether you're currently dealing with one another or there's like a separation between the two of you, because there's a sense of somebody like you isn't just going to wait around forever. You know your value, you know your worth, you bring a lot to the table, you have a lot to offer. offer, emotionally speaking and actually speaking, to where if they don't kind of pick up the pace with doing something to provide you peace of mind or clarity, or again, like resume an active role in your life, there's a sense of someone else will come along that can love you the right way. And it feels like that's almost one of their deepest fears, as that if they don't act soon, then they'll just be stuck kind of holding on to this energy of regret and wondering like what could have happened if they had been more assertive or more decisive. They also say, I wish things were different. Yeah, so if you're in a no contact situation, this person regrets whatever has happened that has put you at a distance. It feels like they are taking full ownership for actions on their part that may have led to a severing of the situation, recognizing that they have some wounds, they have some patterns they need to break within themselves and within their kind of own emotional landscape in order to not just come back into your world and reality and you're back in the same loop, you're back in the same kind of like karmic cycle. But there's a sense of we need to heal that and move beyond that. There's a desire for something more. There's a desire to experience the next layer of love that's possible with you. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name if you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got Z, G, D, T, I, A, V, B, R, U, M, T, S, P, F, N, M, and N. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. It shows the Angelite angel. So let's see, what are the hidden thoughts and secret feelings of the person on your mind towards you at this time? So the first one we have is singing and dancing. So it feels like you give this person butterflies. They may get very nervous when they are around you, filled with a sense of anticipation about where the connection is headed, what the future could hold for the two of you. It feels like the more they spend time with you, the more there's almost this surge of potency within them, a desire to kind of do whatever it takes in order to solidify their place in your life, to continue to keep the process of getting to know one another or experiencing one another going and strengthening and building from this place. This person may be almost kind of thinking about longer term potential with you and kind of gearing up to have an important or serious conversation. And there's a sense of nervousness about that. Like, I've got to get the words right. I have to make sure that this comes out properly, or that the scene is set in just the right way, so that it becomes a very magical experience for the two of you. So this can be somebody who's considering, making things official between the two of you, or taking things to the next level, maybe even confessing that they love you for the first time. And the idea of that is something which really excites them, but makes them very nervous as well. We also have cancel, clear, delete. So it feels like they are exclusively focused on you. They only have eyes for you. They may be in the process right now of cutting off other like situationships, other people that they've been talking to. If you don't have a serious commitment with one another yet, it's almost like they're thinning out the herd in order to be able to kind of offer you something where the two of you can then take it to the next level between the two of you. If this is something where, you are in a commitment with one another, you've been dealing with one another on a little more of a longer term basis, this is somebody who is actively kind of closing off. It feels like any sort of residual questioning, hope about like an ex returning, or even any kind of like wounds from the past, grievances, grudges that they'd had in the past towards ex partners that in some way had operated as like blocks within the emotional space. Like they'd had their heart closed off as a result of wounding. Time had passed and then you came into their life and into their reality. And so this is almost somebody that is dismantling that guardedness, shedding that kind of forgiving people from their past, or just cutting off kind of the need to hold on to resentments, because they're understanding fundamentally that there's no space for love if there's kind of like hate or anger or bitterness. So it feels like they're doing a lot of preparation work inside themselves to be able to offer you a purity of love, offer you the fullness of their heart, to really be able to pour themselves in exclusively to you and to be able to receive very deeply what it is that you have to offer as well. We also have law of attraction. So they are feeling like they have manifested you, like you are the perfect partner, you're the ideal person, you're everything that they've been looking for, everything that they've been wanting. You are what they need that they didn't even know was necessary in order to make them feel not even just whole and complete, but it's like aspects of you help to kind of enhance who they already are, or explain or justify certain qualities about themselves that they've been sort of confused. Like, are these things lovable, or are these best left kind of tucked away in the closet as shadows that I don't show anyone? And there's a sense that you invite them to be themselves fully, or they feel very comfortable with the idea of building forever with you. Even if you're kind of soon into your connection, it's like the early stages, there's a sense that they're not putting limits on kind of how far this can build, what the extent of your bond and connection with one another can yield in the future, which may be something that's very uncustomary for them. This could be somebody that has had their heart broken in the past, and so they've leaned into a place reflexively of being very logical, being very practical. It's got to make sense. There's got to be like a certain time frame before things evolve, and there's a sense that they've adhered to some degree of like a schedule or a timetable with you, and they've now reached this place of trusting so much in the experience with you, who you are as a person, what they're feeling inside, the positive impact that the connection is having on them as an individual in general, to where it's almost like they're loosening that grip on that hard and fast sort of resolve that they had made to themselves of like, things have to move at a very measured pace. I have to be absolutely certain before I let anyone in close. There's a sense of almost leniency with that trust that they are really very authentically sort of giving to you and to this situation, to just whatever will happen between the two of you. They're very open to that and very welcoming of that. They're also feeling that you've come into their life as a way to almost sort of liberate them from a sense of restraint or being too logical, because as far as like matters of the heart and emotions are concerned, that's a free flowing energy. That's something that's very unpredictable. It can't be planned. It can't be measured or reined in any sort of way. And so you're encouraging this person to kind of just let it flow, be very free with the progression, be sort of carried by this wave of momentum beyond their comfort zone, almost like returning to a previous version of themselves that had been wounded in past situations. And again, they'd sort of combated that with an overly logical, overly practical approach to life and to love. And so there's a sense of almost a return to innocence or a rejuvenation that they are experiencing, where they almost feel like the idea of loving you or progressing further in this situation or what they're experiencing currently, it's like they're loving for the first time, as if they've never been hurt, as if, nothing that wounded them had occurred, as if all of that, they can kind of just release it and trust in the power of this new beginning, this new experience. You who is here in the flesh, in the material world, that is like a dream come true. You're the answer to many of their prayers. It feels like, as far as a compatible person, as far as somebody who, can hold space for their light and their darkness, somebody that really kind of fits very nicely and very intricately in with themselves and the idea of what a partnership should feel like for the future. We also have creation, so it feels like they are thinking of creating more of a solid understanding with you, creating a family with you, building a life with you. There's a sense that you motivate them to kind of create a version of themselves that will be the proper fit for whatever the future will hold between the two of you. So this is something where this is a person who it feels like recognizes their own shortcomings in certain ways, and rather than just sort of accepting those things and like, well, these aren't my strong suits, these are, kind of wounds that I don't want to deal with, or aspects within self that are sort of underdeveloped. You've encouraged this person to sort of take a very proactive approach to personal development and growth, to enhancing almost positive attributes about themselves, strengthening those aspects that need work, to be able to kind of become a more well-rounded individual, somebody that can really support the ebbs and flows of the connection. You represent almost like a rock or an anchor for this person during times of turbulence, and there's a deep motivation for them to become that equivalent for you as well. If you've had to kind of hold space for this individual, maybe things that are going on in their life independent of the connection, that have put some strain on your dealings with one another, there's a sense that that has not gone unnoticed by them, and there's a lot of appreciation for that you've not given up hope. You've not kind of put undue pressure on them to sort of give you a bunch of attention or spend a lot of time with you if they've got like other things going on, other matters that are more pressing that have kind of taken their attention away. And this is something that it feels like they're understanding that they can focus on both like career and other sorts of goals, maybe family matters or just other kind of things happening in their life, that doesn't need to be sacrificed in the interest of building romantically speaking, that you're somebody who's very self-sufficient. You're able to kind of self-sustain in a lot of ways. They may be used to kind of needy or codependent partners in their past, and there's a sense of they're encouraged to be very independent and sort of take care of their life, to live their life, to not kind of contort into an expectation of purely what the other person needs or the relationship is requiring. And so there's a sense of almost like their individuality is strengthened, or they're allowed the time and space, or encouraged to take that time and space to strengthen those individual things or keep them strong in their life, which motivates them even further to kind of build that sort of other identity in terms of who they are when they show up in the partnership. And again, also wanting to really perform that role for you as well, to be that kind of safe space for you when you're going through times of change or difficulty, wanting to really, be that shoulder that you cry on, or the person that you can turn to in your darkest hour. We also have strength. So you make this person feel like they are enough, which it feels like is very rare for how they feel about themselves in general. This may be somebody who has a really harsh inner critic. They're constantly sort of picking at themselves, or nothing's ever good enough. This may have led to somebody who, has this kind of, they got to outperform themselves every single day, a very ambitious person that it's almost like it's never enough. They're constantly like climbing and scratching for more, holding themselves to more and more like unreasonable expectations or very lofty standards. And there's a sense that with you, they can kind of just put the brakes on that for a minute and enjoy the present version of themselves, enjoy that process of becoming, or that they're very like accepted and recognized as whole and complete as they are, or worthy of love and consideration as they are. You really bring this person kind of back to home, back to the recognition that there's a worthiness about them that is not contingent on sort of what they have, what they've achieved, goals that they are reaching towards, but like who they are as a human being in this present moment is worthy of respect and admiration, adoration, and affection. So this feels like something you've really helped to boost this individual's self-esteem. They almost feel like a hero at this point. So this is something it feels like where maybe the way in which you have kind of responded to efforts on their part to show affection, or you've been very responsive to their love language, or you've sought to kind of learn what that is. It's something that makes them feel that what they have to provide, what they have to contribute. It's not just something that you're making do with, but it's something that, really kind of fulfills you. It excites you. It's something that really resonates with you on an emotional space, which it feels like helps to kind of reinforce for them that, they're living their life very effectively. They're adulting very effectively in a practical sense, and also in terms of how they're able to show up romantically and in terms of love. We also have change. So it feels like any kind of resolution that they had made to themselves about like, I'm not looking for long-term commitment. I got to build a connection that takes like a measured pace. It's got to, we got to talk to one another for a long period of time, or date for a long period of time before I'm willing to take things to the next level. They've reached a place within themselves where they're willing to kind of bend those rules or throw some of those rules completely out the window, because they're understanding and recognizing that you are worth fighting for. You are worth compromising certain kind of immutable truths within themselves, because what they're experiencing with you is rare and genuine, and it's worth doing whatever they have to do in order to protect and preserve that. So let's take a look at their possible actions towards you. We have the Empress, the Four of Swords, and the Magician. So this definitely feels to be something, again, like planning a special moment, a special occasion, some kind of a conversation that it feels like won't just take place maybe, over the phone or over text, but it's something where, if possible, like they'd like to get together with you physically and, sort of in a very special location, or something that may have kind of like meaning behind it, like a significant date for the two of you and your experiences with one another, or something significant for you. They're almost wanting to use that as kind of the template to put some fears to rest within you, provide you some sort of reassurances that they see a lot of growth potential in this situation, that they are wanting to kind of pull out all the stops in order to make you feel reassured, make you feel cherished, make you feel valued, make you feel like somebody that is worth fighting for, that this connection is worth fighting for. So an increase in the effort than they have put forth up to this point in time. Or something that, again, kind of lets you know that they are prioritizing this situation, even if there's been other things in their life that have been going on that have created sort of a need for them to kind of take some time and distance, or they've been very busy. This is almost the sense of like carving out time for you in this situation, making time to kind of invest with you, or to have more of that closeness, to be able to sort of have more meaningful moments with one another, even if they're sort of sporadic occurrences with each other. So you may be needing to get prepared to have that kind of deeper conversation as far as like, let's take things to the next level. These are my feelings, these are my intentions and goals. Something that kind of gives you more of a sense of there's promise in this situation. There's hope for the future. This person isn't just here for a good time, they're here for a long time. So let's get some message cards and see what they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and they say, I need to see you. So yeah, there's a sense that they need to pull out kind of all the stops in order to be able to make more time, make more space in their life, overcome any sort of like fears or an overly logical perspective to life, to love, to this situation that has created some sort of barrier or has set a speed limit that's a little bit slow within this situation. They're wanting to rev up their engines and kind of make more of an effort towards you. They're wanting to provide you with more reassurances, more of like direct actions and confirmations that they are somebody that is in this in a long-term sense with you. I also say I fantasize about you, so you're heavily on this person's mind at this point. You're in their heart. They're thinking about the future, dreaming about the future, wanting to create more of that intimacy and closeness with you. They're not wanting to let you go or lose the spark that you share with one another, and there's a fantasy of almost becoming everything that you need and want in a romantic partner. So efforts that they are making at this point in time to really overcome some of their own kind of challenges or limitations actually or emotionally to be able to kind of be whatever you need in the future. You also have I'm on my way to you. So yeah, this is somebody that it feels like if there's been a need to kind of pause this connection, or you've just kind of, it's been difficult to connect with one another, you've had to take some time and space apart. They're wanting to bridge this distance, wanting to bridge this gap between the two of you, and really invest in the situation. Not just let's pick up where we left off, but give more than they have up to this point in time, because they're wanting to continue forth in their life with you by their side. They also say the universe is fighting for our souls to be together. So they may be getting a lot of signs and synchronicities that are confirming for them what their intuition is already telling them, that you are the one, you are somebody that can kind of rewrite the narrative that they have going on in their mind as far as what love is like, what romance is like, something where they are changed for the better by the experience of this connection, or kind of stepping beyond their comfort zone in certain ways, facing certain fears and stepping beyond that. There's a sense that they want to keep this momentum going with you. They want to grow with you. They want to evolve with you in this situation. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got U, L, V, Y, D, Z, A, R, A, Q, S, F, N, I, E, and G. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the Amethyst Angel. So let's see, what are the hidden thoughts and secret feelings of the person on your mind towards you and the connection at this time? Okay, the first one we have is vacuum away fear. So it feels like this person is very unsettled about their feelings towards you. The feelings may have come on quickly, very intensely. They're having to confront some fears at this particular point in time in order to continue to transcend and up level with you and this connection. And there's almost a sense of like, am I up to the challenge? Do I have what it takes to kind of do things I've never done before, or to trust in love as a redeeming guiding force rather than something which will take me to an elevated state only to kind of break me or let me down in the future. So it feels like a lot of fears have been triggered about kind of letting you in fully or investing too much kind of like hope or interest in this connection, only to have it sort of taken away from them in the future. So they may be fighting some internal battles at this particular point in time, fighting their demons in order to be able to almost kind of find solutions in this, because as much as there's like a fearfulness, there's a sense of, I don't want to miss out on something that could be really good between the two of us. But at the same point in time, I don't necessarily feel prepared as this current version of myself to be everything that you want, need, and expect at this present time. We also have heart chakra. So it feels like this person definitely is kind of exploring the idea of, could this be love? Am I actually in love with this person? Maybe even thinking that you could potentially be the love of their life, but they will never know unless they take some sort of action beyond these kind of fears, beyond whatever has been triggered. There's a sense that you may have given this person like a heart chakra activation. They're feeling an intense kind of draw towards you, but at the same point in time, it's dredging up a lot of shadows within themselves, experiences in their past, maybe even like their first heartbreak, having flashbacks of that, or sort of recollections about the last time I felt intense feelings like this, or the last time I felt very pulled to somebody on an emotional level. It yielded a sense of my vulnerabilities being used against me, my kindness being taken as weakness, or a sense of even kind of falling deeply in love with someone and being like cheated on, rejected, betrayed, discarded, let down in some sort of manner, that it feels like all of this is sort of like these are gatekeepers that stand in between taking the next step with you or experiencing the fullness of the potential between the two of you in a long-term and viable way, that it feels like they need to confront these things, they need to address these things outwardly, and they almost don't have a choice in the matter. Sort of like whatever it is that they kind of decide to do or not do, these feelings are here, these memories are here, there's no kind of turning back from this point in time, and yet they feel very compelled to almost sort of walk through this fire of transition, step into the unknown, and sort of see what are some ways that I can generate healing for myself, or I can create closure to some of these wounds or these narratives that have just been kind of going round and round inside of myself. We also have ascended masters. So there's a sense that they don't necessarily feel worthy of you, of this connection. They may be putting you up on a pedestal to some degree. If they've kind of gone cold, or they've pulled back their energy, or maybe they've ghosted, blocked, or just ran away from you in the situation, it can definitely speak to feelings of inadequacy, that they're not necessarily just hiding away and trying to almost block out the idea of you in the situation, but there's a lot of that they're not ready to face you yet. They're not ready to kind of openly express things emotionally speaking. There's a sense that they've chosen to kind of pivot off in another direction, but that has put them in a place of having to confront face first a lot of these fears inside, a lot of these insecurities inside, a lot of those wounds, that it's not sufficient to just say, oh, I don't feel good enough for you in this situation, or I've got you up on a pedestal, but it's almost like they're being confronted with a very big sort of question of, well, why? Why is that? What can be done to kind of like move beyond that perception of this person's too good for me, or what I have to offer emotionally or actually is not in keeping with sort of what they require, what is necessary, what they're looking for, what would be stable and solid and substantial. And so it feels like this is someone who's almost being tossed around in a lot of different directions at this particular point in time, having to put some things to rest inside of themselves, because as much as they've kind of detached or pulled away from the situation, there's a sense of yearning for you. There's a sense that their soul is calling to yours and your soul is calling to them. They may be bombarded with signs, synchronicities, things happening in the dream space that it's almost making it very impossible for them to fully sort of ignore you, ignore this situation, and kind of the desire to return to you or to experience something more. They're feeling very almost like ashamed of this level of kind of cowardice within themselves, or a fear of very genuine feelings for you, a fear of kind of the intensity of the bond between the two of you. So it feels like they're in kind of a growth phase within themselves in order to sort of reach the next level with you, rise to that occasion, stand up and recognize there is no pedestal. You're both on equal footing as long as they are not kind of looking at the circumstance from the perspective of woundedness. All of that is sort of working out to their advantage overall, but it feels like it's a struggle at times. They go back and forth between like, am I up to the challenge of this, or is it easier to kind of just tuck and roll away in the opposite direction? We also have change. So it feels like you've changed this person's perception of what it means to like feel affection for another person, what it means to feel love. It feels like it's part of their love language at this particular point in time to even sort of sit with the discomfort in self. They may be somebody who's used to kind of numbing out or finding distractions to kind of fill a void space within where some of these uncomfortable memories of past disappointments or wounds lurk. And there's a sense of soberly kind of addressing these things in a very uncomfortable manner, kind of looking at that, looking at as what is being reflected back. There's already growth and change for this person in terms of they've broken free of a cycle of just running and avoiding. And although there might be distance between the two of you currently, they're confronting some things inside of themselves very assertively at this particular point in time that it feels like is yielding like a positive benefit for them. It may be something where they almost feel like one step forward, two steps back in terms of this sort of capacity for healing, or a need to kind of sit with that discomfort and kind of go through the growing pains. But there's a sense of they vacillate back and forth between these aspects of like, I don't think I'm cut out for this, and this is worth it. If anything is worth fighting for, it's who I'm becoming on the other side of dealing with like ghosts of the past, or who I am on the other side of willing to be kind of raw and vulnerable with myself in these uncomfortable moments, in the things that I fear the most, kind of standing with their head raised as opposed to cowering away from things that, you know, wounds of the past that it feels like may have played puppet master to this person for far too long. And there's a sense that something that's been kind of shaken awake inside of them has encouraged them to kind of take this perspective within themselves of enough is enough. I'm not going to continue to allow sort of this fear of worst case scenarios to continue to make me kind of miss out on good things. And the intensity of that, the changes that it feels like they are interested in making or willing to make, or that they're aware that they need to make, it feels like even other connections that they may have considered like, well, that was the love of my life, that was the most significant relationship that I had, that was something deep and meaningful. None of those other connections required them to evolve as much as this situation does, or they may have been very resistant to change in other circumstances, and there's a sense of they're thrown into kind of this cycle of change, but they're willing to do that. They're willing to sit this out or kind of ride this through to a place of breakthrough, which it feels like is a form of, they're almost seeing it like dedication to whatever might develop between the two of you in the future, that even if they don't feel kind of ready, willing, or able to give you what you want at this point, there's almost a sense of like, I'm not giving up on that though. I'm not just settling with this is how it is or this is who I am. There's almost a sense of there could be something more, or there should be something more, or I will become something more before I just throw in the towel on this situation. We also have union. So they definitely desire a reconnection with you, but there's a sense that they are not happy with that position of kind of like feeling not good enough, putting you on a pedestal in some sort of way, ways in which they may even look around at the life that they're living and feel like this isn't the sufficient environment to kind of have love flourish. What I have going on in my life isn't good enough for you. It's not compatible with sort of the things that you have going on that are more of like a positive vibration, are uplifting, are encouraging or inspiring. And so it feels like something that they're trying to ready themselves or tie up some loose ends, maybe even cut free of other sort of cycles within. They may be in the process of like breaking habits, breaking patterns, changing things as far as like lifestyle, or, cutting people out of their life at this point, or kind of like reinventing the relationship that they have with self. All of this in kind of the interest of like, I'm not just going to give up. I'm not just going to be defeated by this sense of inadequacy. I'm going to do what it takes to kind of muscle up, rise to the occasion, and become, or try to become, a different version of myself, or a more confident version of myself, because these feelings, as intense and frightening as they are, there's something here. There's a deep spark and potential that I want to see this through. I want to see what else could happen between the two of us. And we also have dignity. So it feels like something where they like the way that you handled some sort of disappointment in this situation. You've displayed tact, grace, dignity, that may be something that is very uncustomary for people that they're used to dealing with emotionally. Ex-partners that may have thrown a fit or made a scene, or were very kind of chaotic or manipulative as far as they were concerned. And it's a sense that even if you spoke your mind to this person, even if there's like a fight and you went in your opposite directions, you've kept your dignity intact and sort of like moved forward with grace, which has helped this person to understand that you truly are the prize. You really are a treasure. You are unlike anybody that they've met before, unlike anybody that they've had like a romantic connection with before. You are somebody who brings a very different experience of love and romance to the table. And it's something that it feels like they are deeply interested in kind of improving themselves, or moving beyond this place of like a lack mentality, because they see you as somebody that, like, if they can overcome these hurdles, if they can vanquish these foes within, or kind of have triumph over these internal ghosts of the past, or their personal demons that they're in the process of slaying, that to experience love and partnership with you would help to sort of improve them as a person, or would give them more of like an authentic experience of what love should be. Not as something that diminishes, but something that uplifts both people, adds to the measure of both people's lives. So let's take a look at their potential actions towards you. Okay, we have the High Priestess, the Moon, and the Page of Swords. So there's a sense that they may just kind of watch from the sidelines, watch from the shadows at this particular point in time, because again, they're forced to do some sort of shadow work at this point. They may be going through a dark night of the soul, kind of needing to reinvent themselves, rebrand themselves, changes emotionally, subconsciously, psychically, actually, that they need to kind of go through at this particular point in time in order to be able to feel that they can provide something to you that's equitable, that sort of matches what you bring to the table. Feels like this person understands reciprocity is essential in this situation. Almost like they'll stay away until they can come correctly towards you. And so it's a sense that in what may be more of a prolonged period of kind of disconnect or isolation from one another, you're heavily on their mind, you're in their heart, you are a major motivation for them to see this cycle or breaking of cycles through to its completion, so that they're able to provide you with more of kind of a luminous experience of who they are, or who they can be, or who they are choosing to become, which it feels like they are hopeful and optimistic will sort of lend to the positive advances and growth in this situation in the future. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know at this time. Okay, and they say, I want to kiss you. So they definitely want to kiss and make up. They are longing for intimacy with you, longing to have face-to-face conversations, wanting to kind of smooth out any rough edges in this situation, clear up any misunderstandings between the two of you, so that you can get back on track with kind of those feel-good feelings with one another. They also say, I want to be different. So there's that confirmation of somebody who is very consciously and actively making positive changes in their life, even if that just means not numbing out or filling themselves with distractions when it comes to fears, flashbacks as far as like romances from their past, or even that sense of inadequacy. It feels like they're trying to make their inner critic, they're trying to like humble that part of themselves. They're trying to build the self-esteem. They're trying to like appreciate this version of themselves and set some realistic goals to kind of up level in the area of their life, internally or externally, that they are perceiving as lacking, as not good enough for kind of like what it is that you bring to the table or who you are as a person. We also have, no one understands me like you do. So there is a sense, again, that you're the treasure, you're the prize, you are somebody rare, you're somebody worth fighting for. This connection is real. This is a connection that is unlike anything that they have known before. You make this person feel confident to sort of take the time to do this work internally. You inspire this person to reach for more, to become more within themselves and within their own life, for themselves and also for the long-term future of the situation. And they also say, when I can hold you again, I will never let you go. So again, there's a desire for reconciliation, to kiss and make up, to resume their place in your life, or to clear up any misunderstandings between the two of you. So it feels like they're working on sort of softening a rigid stance that they had taken towards love and partnership. Kind of putting their pride and ego aside, or again, like humbling that inner critic, so that they are able to trust that by you opening your heart to them, that means that they are worthy as they are. That even if there's kind of room for improvement within both of you, that they don't need to be this kind of finished product of perfection, that you can grow and evolve together as a couple towards that sort of better future with each other. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got L, B, G, M, R, L, P, E, N, T, D, V, F, S, D, and Y. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.